Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Smart Poker YouTube channel and another episode of Humpdazed. This is number 86, the end of an apERA, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Want to tell everybody that it feels good to be back from the hiatus, and we're hoping that everybody will join us tonight. My wife is here with me, as always.
Cheers, everybody. Hi, it's Crispy Wannabe. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
That's her.
Hey, it's me, everybody. Hello, me. It's me again.
We put the link up there.
Our tent is looking pretty fly.
Yes.
If in my own opinion, I think that I'm starting to smell some different smells in there. I opened up the tent tonight and I could smell like a rotting fruit type or a fruity, like a musty, fruity type of smell. So it's starting to come around. I'm liking the smells coming out of there, actually. Hello, XYZ. How you doing, buddy? Good.
Okay. I'm alive. Yes. Your plants are looking really nice, though. I like them.
Yeah, they're putting off some good smells, too.
Yeah, you're saying that.
I see Doc MJ's in the chat asking if the show was planned. Yeah, we took off. We took last Wednesday and Sunday off, and today was our day back. I guess when I put the post up, I wrote 17 to 24th, which was a week, but today actually falls on the 24th, which is, I should have wrote 23rd. But yeah, I was actually looking forward to coming back to the show, and missing 2 weeks. When you've been doing something like this for that long, missing 2 weeks is kind of, it off puts your week a little bit, to show.
Something was missing.
Yeah, it's like
it was Jens guys. We missed Jens guys terribly.
Yes.
Well, we missed you too, Smart and Crispy.
There's the art man joining us.
Hey guys.
Oh, nice to see you, buddy. How's things going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. Not too bad. Got my truck back. Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, your truck. It's nice to get your vehicle back.
It's nice to see your plants dancing in the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing okay. Just chopped off some cuttings off of Flo over there. Going to cut some clones tonight.
Nice.
Is that XYZ?
Yeah, it's me. How you been,
Hey,
Art?
buddy.
Long time no speaketh.
Speaketh.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just getting ready to get on an airplane here in about 20, 30 minutes. So
Really?
look, yeah. I'm heading off to California for the rest of the week.
I want to welcome Doc.
Coming to visit me.
Yeah.
Hey, Doc. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I figured I'd jump in for a second. I got to run here in a minute too, but hey, the Smart Poker and Crispy Wannabe show is back, so it's a moment to celebrate. Girl love, everyone.
Awesome.
For love.
Stopping by. Yeah, I see.
I see Dax was making an appearance. Huh?
Yeah, she was making towards my cuttings in the jar there. She said, "Ooh, plants." Anyway, she's gone. Hi, Doc.
How's it going?
I'm good, thanks.
So the reason I made we got a few people here. I wanted to tell everybody about that pen. I think I told some of you guys about our pen and what happened to us there, and it's just been crazy for us. And I'll tell you how we got there. So I was showing this very tent I was showing on the Jack Greenstock show last Sunday. And I think, Doc, you were absent from that show due to something pulling you away. And so we were going over my purple stems and a few other things. And it just so happened Brandon Russ said, check your pen. Your pH looks like it could be off according to them plants. And I went, after the show, I went and checked my apERA. Now, we all know that I was reading I was reading parts per thousand. So I was reading like a 0.5 is really a 0.1. So I went through and told the whole crowd about that. So I got that straightened up.
We figured out like the week before, right? And then you figured out.
Yeah, we got that straightened up. And then he comes with this pH thing. So I come in here with my pen and I try to put it in some 7 solution and get it calibrated. and it keeps reading error one, and it said that that error stands for the calibration solution isn't good enough or something. So I called the company and talked to a guy named Luke, really nice guy, very helpful, and he said, here's the big caveat with the 2-in-1 pens.
And the model number of our pen
PC
is
60.
Yeah, we have the PC 60. So anybody out there with the PC 60, this may help you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm listening because I got it. Go on.
He says that when we store, if you notice, and when you're looking at you hold your pen up and you look at it, the pH bulb rides lower in whatever solution you're dipping it in than your EC probes.
So just for everybody else, this is the pen that has both EC probe and a pH probe. A lot of meters will only do one or the other, but this one has both, and that's what sort of creates.
Yeah, and we paid extra for that too. And now I find out that I'll never recommend that again, that somebody buys a 2-in-1, because here's what the guy told me. He said there's a weird thing with that PC 60. He goes, what's inside the bulb is potassium chloride, or KCl. That's inside the little pH bulb. So that's what they recommend, that you store the solution in for your pH bulb, is the KCl solution. But the caveat is that the KCl solution ruins the EC probes. They recommend EC probes be stored in straight water and not in that. So I always
straight water ruins the pH probe.
Straight water ruins the pH. So the way I always stored mine was, from day one, is I used 90% water with just like a drop or two of solution in it. And I think I read that in one of their books or somewhere, but to this day, I don't know why I've been doing that. But the guy said what he suspects happened. It wouldn't let me calibrate because the probe is now dead. Because of the way I stored it, it slowly degraded. And he said, you probably have been seeing problems worse and worse and worse as it degraded. And so not only was I reading, so our plants were getting, the pH bulb was a 0.8 off, which is almost a whole point. So when I thought I was getting 6, I was getting 6.8. You know, when I thought I was getting 5.9, I was at 6.7 roughly. And and plus we were double our EC. So I'm like so looking forward to some really easy greenery coming my way from now on, if that makes sense.
But it's
or at least just knowing what you're doing. I mean, knowing what's going on. Like,
it's gonna make it so easy, because we were having problems that, had we known it was our pH pen, it would have made things so much easier for us when we were going down the rabbit hole of, oh no, what's wrong with our plants? They're starting to show signs of really bad signs. They're starting to look really bad. And what are we doing?
This is a perfect example of complacency for everybody.
I just bought one of those pens. That makes me very happy.
No.
no. Let me say this.
One thing Luke did say, that those pen caps stored properly will last a year or two.
Yeah.
So they should be replaced.
His recommendation was this, real quick before I forget. He said, if you have the PC 60 pen, he said, don't worry about the EC probes. They just need like high humidity to be fine. He said our focus should be on the pH probe part of it. And he said, what I recommend you do is to put a couple of drops of KCl in, just to keep high humidity in the tip of the pen. And if anything touches the KCl, say you put a couple drops extra, it would only be in the bulb of the pH pen and not like rotting. But this would require you to store your pen hanging in a straight up and down position and not laying on a table. So, which I store mine hanging up anyhow. I hook the loop onto the end of it and it hooks to the thing on the wall.
Yeah, there's a place for a lanyard. So you can put a lanyard on it and just make sure it's vertical.
They stand up. You can just stand.
You know the irony, Smut. I went to get my storage solution, but I only had enough for about 1/4 of an inch, and I filled the rest with water.
The same thing.
So I'm good. I accidentally did basically what they said.
I think that's what you're supposed to do. Don't mix the storage solution with the water. Just put enough storage solution so that the probe or the pH probe sits in the storage solution, but the EC meter doesn't. But I gotta say, my advice is to not use the EC meter that's included with those 2-in-1 pens. Take care of the pH probe. pH is harder to measure than EC, and just get a cheap EC meter. A cheap EC meter costs $10, and that'll last for a year. So I mean, I don't think it's worth messing around and trying to keep one meter to do both things. That's
Right.
what the problem is.
I use it as a pH meter, and I use my Blue Lab for the EC, so it doesn't matter.
Perfect. So don't even care about it. Just stick it in regular storage solution and destroy the EC probe in the storage solution. But the pH probe will stay solid, and that's all that you really care about.
And I thought that'd be a good tips. And now, everybody that's listening now can take that information and pass it on to somebody else and save them. Those pH pens are expensive, man. I bought the Blue Lab bundle a couple years ago for like $2 something. Then I bought the apERA for like $180. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to like a $70 pH pen and a cheap little $11 EC pen. The only reason I switched is because I didn't want to dunk 2 pens. I figured if I can put one in and just hit mode, it was very appealing, That
was very appealing to me. And I pushed for that because I'm like, oh man, I don't want to get too I'm a lazy grower. And if I can cut corners, I do.
Yeah.
I just think it's easier to be lazy if you have a separate EC pen, because you don't really have to take care of your EC pens very much. I mean, EC is pretty easy to measure. pH is much harder to measure. So you really need to keep your pH pen, take care of it and get a good one and invest in it and all of that stuff. But you do not need to invest in an EC meter. Like, it's really simple technology. It's not that hard. And I mean, I buy a new EC meter about a year and a half or so. They cost $10.
It seems to me I can much easier let my EC probe go a little out of whack and not suffer major consequences. But your pH probe gets off by 0.8, and you're going to be running into some shit. So that's where I got to focus.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, your plants will adjust if you're consistent with EC but off. Like, your plants will adjust to that, but they can't adjust to being consistent and off with pH. It destroys them.
But
well, hey, Smart.
Yeah.
This probably answers some of your burning issues that you've been having, like when you first start your plants and all that stuff.
Dude, it's been 3 grows. You guys have watched us have trouble all 3 grows.
Oh yeah.
And it's really bugged the shit out of me because I remember we thought it was our cocoa. And you know what? Somebody said pH pen, and I looked at my wife. I said, I just calibrated it during the auto grow, and we haven't left the cap off or anything. Yeah. I just don't see that being it,
We were like, we got to calibrate these pens. Something's going on with these grows. And we did, and they calibrated for us. It was just our bad luck that they calibrated because Luke at apERA said it'll just deteriorate over time, and we must have caught it at the tail end. And
been deteriorating ever since.
I'm surprised you didn't notice it though, in terms of like, damn, I need to use a lot more pH down now than I used to.
Oh my goodness.
I can't believe that you mentioned that. Because I looked at my wife and I said, something's going on here. I said, did you leave the cap off of the down? Yeah,
we thought that
the down was just not working.
It was like we ruined like 3/4 of a gallon of down by like one of us half by, because now it's not working the way it used to.
Man, this pH down isn't nearly as strong as it used to be. This shit doesn't work at all. It's not even changing the pH.
No. And then we're pointing fingers at each other. It was you. No, it wasn't me. It was you.
That's some funny shit, man. That is some funny shit. Yeah, so at some point during that, maybe next time you'll probably think, hey, I bet we should recalibrate our pH.
This is our humility that we bring to you guys.
We love it. We love it.
Yeah, because we all make mistakes, and I've been doing this for a while, my wife and I, and we've made a lot of mistakes. And I actually thought that I had all this taken care of, that this was something that I learned, and now I'm good to go on it. And it's just like it snuck away from me, and I put too much confidence in it. And it's something that just tells me you need to stop, slow your roll, bro. Check out the basic shit. And this is why this isn't an advice show, Doc. This is a get together so we can all just talk, grow along things. People don't come here to get advice from Smart Poker about how to grow their plants.
I think they do.
Oh, sure they do.
What not to do when it comes to always calibrate your pens before each grow. That would be like a smart practice to get into. we might have to apply that to our grows. It's right before
Or let me add, if anything is ever suspicious about pH, anything like the pH down doesn't seem to be working as well as it used to be. Like anything like that happens, or like you expected it to come out at 6 and for some reason it's saying 6.8, and you're like, man, I've made this before and it always was 6 when I first measured it. You know, anything like that, recalibrate your pen.
Yep.
Yes.
Good advice. Good
Great advice.
I wish, and it somehow got away from me. And you would think that that was something that I would take care of. But when you feel like you bought a top of the line pen, and I felt like I was taking care of it correctly and all that, but yeah, man.
Well, I just actually think that a quality pen is easy to recalibrate. It's not going to necessarily hold calibration longer or be sort of stable longer, but it should be pretty easy to recalibrate and really accurate when you recalibrate it. So that may be the other side of it. pH is kind of a pain in the ass.
Grower 2020 is in the chat. Good friend from CFC is asking, what problems did you have from pH being off, smart and crispy? One thing I noticed was the little plants, I started noticing stunted growth on a couple of them. I started noticing a little bit lighter color in the leaves, like they weren't that pretty green. And then the CalMag Ripple, man.
And then after that, well, like, and this would happen, a week or like after that first week into the second week, we'd start to see these things and they would start to droop, like the turgor pressure. There was no turgor pressure. Why are they starting to droop all of a sudden?
They get that CalMag Ripple. In our big plants where we're seeing purple stems, not in all of them, but in most of them, they had purple petioles. And it didn't seem like it was just kind of like a strain thing. You got 4 different strains and 3 of them are carrying red petioles and 1 ain't. It's like something don't seem right here,
Yeah.
But so we've switched it up. We'll see how it goes, and always learning, ongoing process. And when life comes at
we all make mistakes, Matt. Don't be hard on yourself. We all make mistakes.
Was your pH under or over your target?
We were putting it on
it was rating high, so we were always putting it on super low.
Okay, that's the CalMag.
Yeah, we were dropping that.
Like when we were at, I guess when we were at when it would read 6.2, we were
really at 5.4.
We were really at 5.4 or something. Yeah.
We like to run 6.
Calcium's not really available at 5.4, so that's accounting for some of those issues. I would say when you seem to have like multiple nutrient issues all happening at the same time, it's almost always a pH issue.
Yep.
When you're fertile, when you're growing hydroponically.
It's weird, Doc, because this is the oddest shit. If I'd have saw somebody else's, I thought about this today, and I was thinking if someone would have showed me that, I would have. One of the questions what I had asked them is, "Are you confident in your pH pen readouts?" And I didn't even ask my own self that. I'm like, "Are you freaking serious?" Like, I don't know, man. I guess it's complacency, man.
I get it, Smart. It's actually sometimes we're more careful about doing things right when it's for somebody else.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's a real thing about that. Like you go through your whole protocol. When it's yourself, you're just like living your life. You're like, oh man, maybe you don't like kind of go through that protocol sometimes that you would when you're trying to determine somebody else's problem.
Good point.
And you know what? That's true, because we even went back over and over about we just calibrated those pens when we were running the what was it? We were
Autoflower.
The spring autoflower.
Okay, so let me just hit you on that. The spring autoflower challenge was last April.
Yeah,
like a year ago.
Yeah, and that's what we kept. We were looking like it hasn't been that long. We sat down. We're like, you know what? That's like 4 tenths ago.
Yeah,
right.
We actually thought about
that's forever.
It's like, oh, but I calibrated this pen in 2016. Man, it's got to still be good.
Time seemed to fly there, didn't it, Crispy?
Well, yeah.
Why didn't you tell me?
I do want to give a thanks to Brandon Russ, because when he did mention that and I was listening, I was like, you know what? We should just. And Spot said it too. As soon as we got off the show, he's like, "We need to recalibrate those pens," and that led us to this.
So what I had to do. So check this out. Once I realized it was all screwed up, I I had nothing here. I had no pen at all. So I heard up. I ordered the cheap Vivo Sun 2-pack, which I'm not crazy about the pH pen because it's so cheap and not that reliable. It came. I calibrated it. But the dude at apERA gave us a 20% off if we want to buy a probe, a replacement probe. They're $80, so I think that'll take off like what, $12 or something.
A quarter of 20%. Sorry, yeah,
20% off $80 is like what, $12 or 15?
It's like 16, 18.
16. Yeah, there you go.
And I just want to ask you, Doc, what would you recommend that we do as far as the pH pen? Should we go with that apERA replacement, or should we go with just another?
I had a $30.
No, I think the meter's fine for pH. I think the only problem is that it's tough to use one meter for both EC and pH. So with it's the pH 60, right? Or the PT 60?
PC60.
PC 60. You can replace the probe for pH. So some meters you can't replace the probe and you have to replace the whole meter. But with that one, I would replace the probe and I would continue to use it as a pH meter. I would just not use it as an EC meter, and I would store it in storage solution. And I wouldn't care if the EC meter got the storage solution on, because I'm not going to use it for EC anymore. I'm going to use a different EC meter.
Good point. I think that's what we're going to do.
That's great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's funny. I have a pH 60 apERA, and that thing's been solid for a year. But then again, I don't use it that often.
Sensor, just that theirs has the EC sensor too.
Yeah. I was thinking about getting the one with the EC, but no.
He did say that they only have a what do you say, like a lifespan that you can trust of like 2 years, and that's it. He said, I have had guys call here and said, I've been using this thing 5 years, and I always tell them, like, you're one of the lucky ones, you've got it down, you know. But he said usually 24 months, and then you got to really keep an eye on them, and they recommend you replace them. And like he said, it's not a once in a lifetime buy or anything. It's a consumed product. It has to be replaced.
Yeah, it's a consumable.
Yeah, so
I mean, not the rest of the meter. So you will need to eventually replace the bulb. So if you get a meter that you can replace the bulbs on, then you can just replace the bulb like every year or so. Otherwise, you should plan to get a brand new pH meter every year, 2 years. Depends on what you get. They become hard.
This tall plant in the back left here is a Ghost Train Haze, one of my favorite strains, man, right now this time. And it had bad purple all over it. And since we've got our pH back on, slowly watching it to see if it'll like come around. It seemed like it was starting to grow out of it anyhow, but it's something I'm keeping an eye on to.
So what's your inflow target for pH now?
On this tent, 5.9.
Okay. Did you hit him with like some 6.2, 6.3 after you discovered this problem?
I did not. I went directly to what it should be and I gave him extra FERC to really saturate. I think what we do, we watered them once, waited like an hour and come back and hit them again. And I figure that will hopefully replace all the liquid inside the medium, to a degree. I figure subsequent fertigations to take care of the rest. I never thought.
It depends. Yeah. It depends on how out of whack it gets. Sometimes with the pH issue, I will flush with a flushing agent just to kind of like get the hell rid of that and then refertigate with, correct solution. Right. A heavy application of regular solution will do largely the same thing as that. If you really start to get some like lockout issues, then you want to flush. But
that's like the only time I ever recommend a flush really is for a reset, like if it's real bad, or if they have a massively high EC, Other than that, I really don't ever recommend flushing.
So
pH issues are the one time that I think it sometimes is beneficial to flush with an agent in the middle of a grow. Like EC, I would never flush with an agent. I use diluted nutrient solution and get the EC down. But actually using like FluoroClean or Sledgehammer or something like that to flush out the mineral salts. But
Hey, I wanted to mention Brian 420 here. He says, I have a Dr. Meter pH pen 3 years now, calibrated twice. My wife and I had a Dr. Meter pen we used for like 2 years. We shipped it off to Hemp with Gigi whenever he started growing. And then he shipped it off to one of his friends who, last I heard, was still using the pen. So that Dr. Meter was a badass little pen, man. And it seemed always to calibrate when I tried it, and that's things like
calibration. Well,
it seemed to for us, but it was calibrating my pen is one of those things that earlier in growing, I did it a lot more. I was a lot more vigilant, and then it's kind of like it was always on for me, et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of feel like I floated away from it.
We did get complacent with some of these.
But that Dr. Meter pen, I'm not against recommending that because I had one, and it was I was going to say, Brian, it was like $39.99 or something. It wasn't the cheapest, it wasn't the most expensive,
right?
And I grabbed it, and it was pretty good. Solid pen, man.
Yeah, I think like the $50 range is somewhere around where you want to spend for a pH meter, and I think like the $10, $15 range is where you want to spend for an EC meter. It's just really different. You can spend more than that on both of them, but I don't really think you have to.
And this is obviously going to be much more important for those of us that are growing hydroponically versus somebody in soil. I saw Cheddar Bob said he hasn't measured his pH in a long time because he's in a living soil. Now, here's something that I've heard. Let me throw some devil's advocate on this one. I've heard growers who was at Smiley's Garden, and I can't remember the other guy's name. Shit, he's a really good dirt guy. But they were saying that it's not a bad thing to pH your water because it saves the microbes from having to put out work to make the pH right. They can focus their energy on other things like breaking down material or whatever. Now, what kind of water those things hold, I don't know personally, but I've heard that. So I'm thinking
it makes a big difference. So plain water, and we kind of know this from mixing nutrients, plain water doesn't hold a pH against anything. So you can push the pH in plain water around really easily. If there's a lot of dissolved solids in the water, a higher EC, then that basically buffers the pH. It stabilizes the pH, and it becomes much harder to move the pH. So when you're watering with plain water, the pH of the plain water almost doesn't matter at all.
Well, that's good to know because I've heard people do it both ways, and I've always just wondered is one of them better?
Just plain water, you need to open the lid of the pH down next to the bucket of water and then close it again because it's like nothing. You gotta breathe on it and then so the microbes don't have to do freaking much work, man. It gets pushed around like a feather in the wind.
Well, I remember the first time I used my pH pen and I was running it on TI water and I breathe on it and my pH meter go crazy and I was freaking out. I was like, what the hell's going on? This ain't right.
There's no buffer. It's just going to react to exactly.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, if you put, say, 7.58 pH water in the soil, doesn't that affect the availability of the nutrients that were in that soil?
No. Well, plain water you're talking about?
Yeah, just plain water. Wouldn't it?
But low pH or high pH. No, as soon as it hits the soil, as soon as it hits the media, probably peat and whatever is dissolved in that peat, that stuff is going to push the pH to where it needs to be or to whatever that stuff is.
Oh, okay.
That's going to have the impact on the pH. So even if you added a quarter of a drop of pH down or whatever it would take to get to where you thought, it's not a lot of weight. In other words, right? You're just barely breathing on it. It's not gonna affect the water. You're not really moving the available hydrogen around very much. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, I'm just soaking it all in. I was reading the chat.
Yeah, I mean, and so it's like the other thing is if the water is really low in electrical conductivity, it's going to be close to 7. Unless there's something sort of in there that's stabilizing that, but that almost always shows up in EC. So really low EC water should basically have a 7. Like true RO water should be exactly 7 and exactly 0 EC. if it's a little bit off from that, it's like a feather in the wind. It's just going to move super easily.
That's good stuff, man. I look forward to growing in soil someday because, the great debate, man, soil buds are supposed to taste better than ours. And I got to say, I don't have enough experience with the weed that I've received in the past and how it was grown. When I bought weed, I didn't know how it was grown. So no one around here grows. So I can't wait to grow our own, to try other people's soil grown and make those, because I tell you what, there's a lot of things in this that I've been humbled by in growing that I thought was chiseled in stone, and then I got smacked right in the face with you were wrong, So I'll keep an open mind.
Yeah, I've been saying peat, Smart. You keep saying it's soil. I think calling it soil sends the wrong impression about what you're growing in.
Well, I want to think that I'm talking about going to all right, here's the scenario, Doc. I'm going to a meetup, in like Vegas. And
but all those growers say they're growing in soil, but they're actually growing in peat.
Well, I'm thinking of like a living soil. Would that still be peat?
Yes.
Well, either way, that's their claim, and I have to see.
I know, but it's peat. So, like, the point is, it's a non-sustainable, largely hydroponic style of growing. It's not like it's not just soil, like salt of the earth, like dirt from my yard or whatever. It's not that. It's not mineral-based sand, silt, and clay, which is what soil is. Peat is an organic-based product that comes from bogs. And that's what they use to make potting soil. So it's peat. And I think a lot of growers think that they're doing sort of a more environmentally friendly thing by like growing in soil, and they're not like a hydro grow. It's like, no, peat is worse. It's less sustainable. It is hydroponic. And I mean, there are some advantages to growing with it, but I think we should be more kind of comfortable with what it is that we're doing. And yeah,
I think the more to the point would be the fact that they are using organics, even though like peat's organic, it's not like a salt-based nutrient. So I guess in my mind, they're saying the hyphae that are in my roots because of my mycorrhiza and all these things are triggering other responses in a plant.
Right. I understand that. I understand what you're going for, but I'm just saying, this is one of those situations where I think terminology matters. We were talking about that recently, right? Like I don't think matters, but soil and peat, I think, is one that we sort of does matter. But yeah, I get that. And I've told you I wanted to do that grow, and I was going to do a conventional cocoa grow, and we were going to have a big meetup, and everybody's going to smoke both things and see which one was better.
Yeah, I want to do that myself. Hey, what are you doing, Art, man? You getting ready to rip some clones or something? Or some cuttings?
Yep.
My fault. There's one of the nomenclatures right there that I always take a butcher to, is I tell people they're clones. Oh, I see you got some clones. No, they're cuttings. They're not clones until they have roots. And then I use...
But he's cloning. He took cuttings to make clones.
Yes. And what else was I saying? There's a couple things that I really butcher all the time, man. And I probably should.
Cuttings and clones is sort of important, but I don't know if it's super important. It's important depending on what you're talking about them, basically.
I think a lot of people in the community call them clones, and that's just what we go with. I don't think that it was anything, we're not trying to be misleading.
How about Bolt and Stretch? Yeah. Bolt and Stretch took off, man. That was something.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. And that's another example where calling it the wrong thing gives you a negative impression of it. The other thing about that was foxtails that we were talking about at my show yesterday, Smart. A lot of growers call things foxtails that aren't really foxtails. And it makes them not like their buds that are perfectly fine buds because they think they're foxtails on them and they think foxtails are bad. The thing that they're looking at isn't a foxtail and isn't bad. So
I'm that dude.
Yeah,
Doc.
He is. And like,
I'm literally that dude.
Big difference
I see it
between
all the
Spot
time.
and I, because I personally kind of like that kind of bud structure sometimes.
Yeah.
When it's got like open calyx, I think it's beautiful. And Spot's like, that's garbage weed. And I'm thinking, okay,
yeah,
let's not be smoking all that. Pass it over.
when I trim
not.
it, I take them back to cone shape when I'm trimming, so we get nice.
How you trim them off, and that just goes in the butter, right?
I go around doing haircuts.
So I was telling people on my show, like, we used to get foxtails growing under HPS when the lights would get too close to the top buds. Like the whole top bud would basically die, and then like one little, I don't know, sometimes it'd be like 4 inches or 6 inches long. This little stringy, one cola tall like thing, or one bud tall thing would like grow out of it. That's a foxtail. There's one per cola, and they're like at least 3 or 4 inches long, and they're growing out of now a dead flower, and they're terrible. But if you have a totally alive flower that's got a lot of little tiny finger things growing off of it, those are just open calyx structures. That's not foxtailing. You don't need to like get rid of the plant. You don't need to diagnose what happened to cause that. That's just the way that plant grows. A lot of plants just grow that way. But it's not foxtailing. I see growers all the time calling them foxtails.
I do, because I don't really know the difference. Sometimes I wonder if the plant got stressed at my hands and that's why it's growing them. Other times I'm thinking, no, because they're on the lowers. It can't just be like I didn't blast them with light by accident.
Right.
No, they're all on the lowers. Then I'm thinking, well, this is what I really hate is whenever I end up getting, I'll be at like week 7, right? And the plants are looking great. The hairs are starting to turn and curl in. They look like nice golf balls, man. And I'm all stoked for it. And then I come back in literally 2 days later, and I'm starting to see these little, I call foxtails growing. And I'm thinking, hold on, we're getting down to like a week from harvest or so. And now you want to start they spit out new white pistils and they start growing these things. And then my mind immediately goes to one of two things. The plant got stressed and is pushing foxtails, or what was my other one?
You're light.
The light.
We would always like say that. Even I can remember.
Or I ran them too long, but because
Yeah.
I know running them too long, sometimes I see that shit. And
sometimes you get that from running them too long. But I also think that that's sometimes just what plants do. What some of the plants do in week 8 or 9, they just sort of like have another little burst of things. I often get plants having new white pistils at like week 9 in a 10-week cycle.
I always feel like I have now different pieces of bud on the same bud that are at different ripenesses, and it doesn't sit well within me. You know what I mean? When I look at that bud, I'm thinking, now, holy shit, this one's been here for 9 weeks or 8 weeks or 7 weeks, and these new shit
whatever it's
off.
turning.
Yeah.
Justin Bean just asked the question about one of the pieces of terminology that I don't think matters. And that's an important difference. So Justin Bean's asking about pistil or stigma. Stigma is part of the pistil. You can call the whole thing a pistil too. And I don't think it makes any difference because we don't have strong feelings about one of those words and not the other. It's not like calling it a pistil or is making you cut them all off, or calling it a pistil is making you hate your plant or something. I mean, or calling it a stigma makes you love them. I mean, nothing. They're just two anatomical terms that are almost interchangeable because the stigma is just part of a pistil. So like a lot of growers, or calyx versus bract, I don't think there's a meaningful difference between those two terms. So if you want to call them calyxes, call them calyxes. If you want to call them bracts, call them bracts. But I do think there's a meaningful difference between like stretching and bolting. I think there's a meaningful difference between soil and peat, and between like open calyxes and foxtails. Because we have strong feelings about some of those things or whatever, and not the other. So that's where it really becomes important to get the terminology right. Plant anatomy is like so screwy and weird, and especially reproductive anatomy, like flower anatomy. It's hard to identify what different things are in a lot of plants. So I'm not a stickler for being sort of like, for the terminology to be strictly correct. Yeah, okay. So you see, there's exactly, it's showing that the stigma, the style, and the ovary are all part of the pistil.
Right here.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that they use anther because that's what you don't want to see.
Yes, you don't want to see anthers. Anthers produce pollen.
Yep. That's one thing I've never had on an auto flower. We grew 100 auto flowers and I never once had one on there. but I've seen other people. Matter of fact, I've saw our friend Osbucket. I don't know why it won't stop sharing for me.
Shoot, I'm gonna have to get going here in a second. Sorry, I just realized what time it was. Like, you know, like Carrie, I enjoyed being on your show.
Our friend Osbucket recently ran an auto flower like 127 days, and right at the end, it started throwing a bunch of anthers. Well, I guess that was like a year or so ago now, but that was one of the ones that I saw. It's not something I see very often in the auto flowers.
No, but if you busted out some silver, you can see it.
Yeah. No, I know you said you couldn't stay long, man. We appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah,
bro.
I gotta get someplace by 5, which is like 8 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I gotta change and get there. And it's like 15 minutes away. So I better run. But it's been
Take
fun.
care, Doc.
See ya.
Your love.
Girl love,
Girl
Doc.
love.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
And
That it does.
time gets away from you.
Well, hey guys, I gotta go too. I'm about to get on an airplane.
Right on, man. You be safe. It was nice for you to stop by, and
Well, it's nice you have your show this week, man. I missed you guys.
oh man, busy week, man. Busy week.
I hear you.
You know.
I hear you.
Take care,
Okay,
Big
well,
A.
You too, Art Man. Talk to you guys later.
Girl love, XYZ.
Grow love.
Now, Art, you took those cuttings.
Yes.
Was that all from the flow?
Yeah. Yeah, I took those before the show and put them in a glass of the newt mix that I had.
Okay. And then you recut them, or no?
Yeah,
You just shape them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I cut them at a node. I trim them down, and I cut them at a node at an angle, and then scrape it.
Keeping the embolism away by putting them in the water there, and then recutting them.
Yep. You got it.
Good deal.
Which is pretty cool because if you're in the New Year's Grow Challenge over at Cocoa for Cannabis, the side challenge is taking clones, and that's coming right up.
Yeah.
Time does fly when you're having fun. And I'm thinking,
We're gonna
that's
do
right
that
around
on
the
this
corner.
show.
We'll be taking some clones and doing that, which
We're
is gonna
gonna-
be fun.
Yeah, we're inviting everybody else. It's wants to take some cuttings that day, and even if you're not in the New Year's Grow Challenge with us, you jump on, take some cuttings, give your tips, your advice, and see maybe learn something if you're not a big. Because my wife and I, we've taken clones a good bit of times now. We've had clones in here, we had clones in the other. Hell, I even cloned that one auto flower and got roots on it, but we never saw them all the way through to flower, and we always get rid of them. So it'll be fun. We're going to try sand. We're going to try to do some Johnny Caniseeder. I always give him credit. That's the first guy I ever seen do it. Sand tag. I'll put some sand. When I saw it, I was like, I'm trying that someday. That was like 4 years ago. So we're going to try the sand. We're going to try some in straight water.
Yep.
And then we're going to try some in just straight cocoa. And see how they go. It seems to me so far that we've had really good luck with going in just straight cocoa and keeping water on there. And before you know it, man, you start seeing them roots falling out the bottom holes quick. And they're in a nice size pot at a solo cup. You can really bury a good bit of the stem down in there and get a nice. I seem to like them more than trying to keep a collar on one with water, but we're going to do both ways.
Yeah, I like my personal way. I want to just cut it off and put it in some water and throw it in the window, or let it get window light and see if it'll grow. See if it'll go like that.
This is one other thing too. Like a lot of people, where they take their cuttings from on the plant. And so far I think we're right at topping time now on our little tent. We have, I think, 2 or 3 of them are ready for topping. They're at like node 6, which we always like to wait till node 6. That way we know that the plant has a well-developed root system and it can handle a topping well. And it's for this reason that when you take a plant that has 6 nodes and cut it back to 3 if you're doing a main line or a manifold, or if you just cut it back 1 or 2 nodes and then remove nodes 1 or 2 from the lower. Either way, when you finally do the topping after waiting for 6 nodes, you have plenty of root mass, and whatever you leave on the plant grows exponentially fast Because I always hear a lot of people say when I top my plant, well, it's stunt. Well, it's stunt. I like to think that topping is the least stressful thing that I've ever done to my plant. It's very deliberate. You time it out. There's no chance of breaking a stem, you going a little too far or whatever. There's just really no stress there when you do a topping, as long as you wait for there to be plenty of root mass, as well as never top a sick or struggling or stressed plant, because obviously that's not good. But I always tell people, man, I think the least stressful and the easiest training method you can do is top your plant. But it's also always been my take that when someone's growing for the first time, I tell them at least grow one plant regular. That way you can see what the manipulation that you're imposing on the plant is actually doing and the various outcomes that come from that. And you can see for yourself if it slows it down or if it gets bushier or if you like the structure better. And this can help guide people whether they want to go SOG or whether they, have a plant count and they need to grow 4 plants and they really got to veg long. They can top twice, 3 times if you want, and I've seen people skirt plant counts this way. They grow, they're only allowed 5 plants or something. Well, they grow 5 monsters, one plant in each 4x4 tent. And, that's how they get down. But it's pretty fun seeing all the different practices. I enjoy topping and stuff. I enjoy the manipulation of the plant in a way that suits me. And to do so with such ease, just a little clip, that's all it takes. My thing is, Jace, if we're going to manifold or mainline, I'll grow it out to 6, but on the way to 6 nodes, once it gets to about 3 or 4 nodes, I'll remove nodes 1 and 2 right away because I already know what I'm doing down the road. And I don't want my plant wasting energy growing those 2 weak ass little nodes that aren't going to be there anyhow. This will divert more energy upwards to the nodes that I do want to keep. So I do that by maybe node 4. And then this staggers the 2 events. By the time my plant gets to node 6, it's already recovered from, if there was any recovery to be had, from me removing nodes 1 and 2. Now we're sitting there with nodes 4, 5, and 6. I'll take it all the way back, or I'm sorry, 3, 4, 5. We take it all the way back, keep node 3, and then grow those out and do our main lines or manifolds, whatever would dictate that next. Yeah, it's
we do have to cut plants soon. And if we waited till Sunday, we could do it on the show and you could show people what you're.
Well, that's what I was getting at. I haven't really taken anything off of our plants yet because I know on February 5th, we're going to want to cut some clones, some cuttings. And if we're going to do that, I may need some of those lowers because I want to do like 2 sand, 2 cocoa, and 2 water.
That's a good point. But maybe we can at least top them.
Yeah, we can top them.
Because sometimes you want, we've staggered those events in the past to topping them and then taking their growth nodes.
Artman's doing something. He's going into the smash house.
Ooh, smash it up.
It's the monster
I just wanted
mash.
to say to everybody in chat, thank you so much for being here. You guys are awesome. And I posted a link to Starshine Cannabis on her website. And I learned that it's down. She posted her Starshine Cannabis Instagram where everybody can go follow, and she's doing business there. I hope everything's cool with that. That's awesome. We're going to support her. Head over there on her Instagram account and support an awesome grow me.
Yes. Try to support your friends, man. Especially if it's stuff you're going to buy. Like I got to say this, if you want seeds, hit the American one up. That dude, I grew every seed he ever sent me, and everyone's been fired. This is something I can say with great ferocity because his shit is just bomb, man. I'm telling you, this plant, we grew this Stacy, and it didn't do well. It was like we at our hands, it was all us, and this shit come out so fire. It's some of my favorite bud.
We were giving her a higher EC than we thought, which was a good thing, it turns out. And our pH was all screwed up, but she really thrived through that, and she's very tasty.
We did the Amy Aces, we did the Stacy and the Violet Beauregard, and this Stacy is just like a bowl of Fruit Loops. I gotta say, when you're cutting it up, it really smells like a bowl of Fruit Loops. But if you crack it a little bit, you can get a large blueberry until I cut it up. It's weird. Like when I cut it up, there's more shit comes out of it, you know?
And smart as you have to smell this, but I smell it really strong, is peppercorn. I got that that peppercorn smell, fresh cracked peppercorn smell from it, which is, I love that old school smell. To me, that's old school. I can remember the first joint I ever smoked, and it had that peppercorn like smell to it. And I'm thinking, like, what's in this thing, man? Did you put pepper in it?
No, it's not pepper. It's beta carotene. Hey, I wanted to say this. I see a little something going down in the chat here. They were saying about where to take cuttings from. This is something that we talked about before. I think it was Jace that said he's going to the lowers. Now, the lowers, they said, were, like, if you notice, Jace, your first node comes off of the main plant where the leaf only it doesn't carry a 5 leaf there. And so that kind of makes it for a weak node. Anybody who's ever grown out a plant with all those nodes knows that 1 and 2 is usually pretty weak. Now, there's exceptions to every rule, but that's usually how they fall. And so a lot of people don't advise using nodes 1 and 2. And if so, maybe 2, but not node 1. And they're saying node 3 is where you really get a hefty node. This is why we kind of go to that node for manifold and mainline. And because it's the first node that comes off the plant where it carries a set of 5 leaves. And for some reason, it does just seem heftier. However, that's put into scientific words and shit, But a lot of people were saying, like, and this is my thing, like the top of the plant it has softer cambium layer and shit, it seems like it's fresher and it seemed like it might have more, I don't know, oomph in the root department versus something that's older and more developed. So I think people say, a lot of people I talk to, and I don't know about Art Man, but I think a lot of people like to go from in the middle somewhere, 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere coming up around that area. And so
well, if you go from the bottom, you get more rooting hormones. If you go for the top, I would say that, in my opinion, it makes a better, shorter plant. If you're going to go sea of green, you want that top part because it has more nodes packed per inch. You know what I mean?
I saw Galaxy on here said that active top growth roots faster for them, it seems. So, this is one of
I can't tell much difference as far as the location. Just the shape of the clone itself after it's rooted is different from the bottom to the top.
So let's ask the chat.
That's pretty cool to know because we don't have much experience.
Let's ask the chat what they do there as far as because we've taken our clones indiscriminately. I couldn't tell you where we took the cuttings from on most of them. I think some of them might have been 1 or 2. And at that rate, we might have been doing ourselves a disservice. Holy says the first couple branches, I cut the tops off so they grow on the bottom. If I need to re-veg, there's a good bush. Plus, when you cut them near flower, it keeps the plant growing young shoots. Okay. The best plants, Golden Grown says, I have the best plants from tops. Huh.
Ooh, ooey gooey sweetness.
Galaxy says they like larger clones, 6 to 8 inches. These are all good things. I've heard other people say those same parameters. 6 to 8 inches is a good size.
I'm height challenged, so I tend to go for a shorter one.
Yeah,
it gives me a little more. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That could be a reason. Yeah, people doing different things. He said, I buy my clones, no doubt, man. That's the way to get some outside.
You're talking about the first and second node. Now, I've never seen the first or second node off of Flow OG because I got it as a cutting. So, I have no idea where that came from.
What part of the plant it came from, yeah.
Exactly. I have no clue. I was just happy to get it, that's all. At the time, genetics were not available, so I was happy as hell.
Right on. There's 50 people here. Appreciate you guys coming. And had a week off. It was cool. A few people messaged and was like, what's going on? Checking on us, make sure everything, all of our friends was worried about us and stuff. And I appreciate that. And it made me realize not that I didn't know, but it was like without the show, I felt weird. Like I was, it was like I was supposed to be at work and wasn't there. Not that I consider this work. It had that same kind of a feeling in my gut, like I was missing something that I was supposed to be. And I'm like, damn, I really miss hanging out with my friends. And I'm thinking, I wonder how so-and-so's doing. I wonder what they're doing. I wonder if they'll be, they got their thing put together. And you start to, it's pretty cool that we have a meetup time here regularly. I enjoy it.
Same here. And I have a question for you, Art Man. In your other tent, in your flower area, you have that pollination bag on there on one of your colas. I was wondering what kind of are you seeing anything? Are you noticing anything happening?
Yeah, I have noticed some red hairs. Now I'm not sure. See, there are almost as many as there are in the buds around it, honestly. So I'm not sure what's going on. This is my first time doing anything like that, so I don't know really what to look for.
So really no change yet? You're not seeing any kind of
There's a lot of that flower all over everything, so it's hard to tell what color they are. But I think there are some red. We'll see in the next couple of weeks, though. That'll be and plus I don't know if I stored the pollen very well. I put it on my top shelf, so it might have been a little too cold. I think I should have put it in the crisper with the potatoes. So I'm not sure though.
So it's not good to store it in a fridge. It's too cold.
In my fridge, the main shelf is probably too cold. I like it real cold though, but I don't know yet. We'll find out. We'll see.
How about Iceni? He's in the chat there. He had that one shit for 2 years, right? Isn't that what he said, Art Man? He had it for 2 years. Yeah, I didn't even forgot I had it. I think he said it was just laying somewhere like in a drawer or something. He put it on there and he noticed that it seemed like it was working, I believe, that it had taken because he's already harvested. And isn't that weird? Like he forgot about it, probably wasn't even really worried about the storage, and it worked. And
well, that's cool.
Yeah, I might be wrong. I did. My back's been killing me lately, man. I had to take muscle relaxer. They make me so fucking stupid. I hate them things, man. I really dread taking them. I can't drive for like a whole 2 days after taking one. They're called flexor reels, and they tear you up, man. That's
what I have. I don't like taking them either. They give me a hangover.
Anybody who's been around for about 5 years remembers me having back surgery, and I was off work for like 9 months, man. I had what they call a hemilaminectomy and a discectomy, and on my lower spine, right around my hips, because I'm 6'5", man. I've been plastering my whole life. My back's all wrecked. Well, I got to go again, and maybe get this surgery again here 5 years later. But until then, you've probably heard me say it more than once over the last year. It's another round of steroids and a couple muscle relaxers. And I hate taking pills and shit, man. But I couldn't get out of bed. My wife had to help me all the way down to the car, help me get into the ER nurses station and all kind of shit, man. It was really embarrassing. And I was walking like so doubled over and crooked and shit. But
it's hard to see smut like that. It was rough.
All I did was bring a load of wood in, man. Nothing. I've been bringing wood in. I do all kinds of shit. I don't know what I did. I was outside. I loaded up the wheelbarrow like 5 times with split wood, and I was bringing it in, throwing it down the basement steps and collecting it. When I was done, bam, I stood up and I told my wife, I said, oh, it just grabbed me. And ever since then, man, I've been like total shit. But that on top of some other shit's been a tough week. Our pH pen and some other stuff. Plus the original reason that we couldn't have the show was personal family issues that we had to take care of. And some of that shit isn't the greatest, the stuff that in your head to deal with. And you have it all piled up together. But you had to get a backiotomy, man. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. When Smut says, when he says that he had and I'm not even going to try to butcher it because I call it
hemilaminectomy. A mecca high, mecca honey high, mecca honey ho.
Oh, lama, ba ding da ding da dong, chang chang.
Oh, my.
I'm sorry, but my mind goes there. It's off of a movie, Grease.
Yeah,
Grease is the word.
I don't take the painkillers, man. All my doctors know that That's not for me. I told them I wouldn't take them if
Cheers,
even if
everybody.
you didn't like the script, man. Hey, what's happening,
Cheers,
Levels?
Good to see you, bro.
How you living, man?
Hey, Levels.
Pretty good. It's been a while. I figure I'll pop in real quick and say what's up to y'all.
Yeah, man.
Tell
Nice
you
to
to
see
grow,
you.
just touch base. Good to see y'all, man. I'm sorry. I'll be working late, so I always miss y'all, man.
Oh, I understand.
Hey, we're glad you're here
Good
now.
to see
It's
you,
good
Art,
to see
man.
you.
Nice,
Thank
Art.
you. It's good to see you too, man.
Thank you for having me.
How's the
ADG, everybody in chat, cheers.
you still growing out
I'm
on
actually
the patio, man?
in the grow room if y'all want to see this.
Oh yeah, we want to
Oh,
see
yeah.
Oh, look at that. That's perfect.
Beautiful.
Nice training levels.
Yep, there's a lot of improvement since my last couple grows. I've learned a hell of a lot. I have a good support system, I guess you could say. A lot of Gromies actually helping me out here. I'm on day 22 or no 23 of flower. Stretch is over. I've been absorbing it as it's coming up. No runaways.
You did great, man. You got a net under there or no?
Oh yeah, we got a net right here.
Oh, okay. I'm seeing it now.
Boy, that is so
That's
gorgeous.
great work, man.
Looking healthy. Nice job underneath, too. I like
yeah.
that circulation. Hell yeah.
You got a lollipop. Got to clean them up.
You can
Yep.
say
At least a
20
third, huh? Nice.
Yep. And these are VPD's genetics. Fruity Pebbles OG crossed with Pink Lemonade and Fruity Pebbles OG crossed with Cement Shoes.
Ah, yeah.
Nice.
I've seen him grow some of those, man. I remember when he made them seeds. That's pretty
Some of
wild.
that
Yep.
stuff. Yeah, that's good to see.
That pink lemonade was his jam.
awesome.
He loved that pink lemonade. And I remember the
Yeah, I
pink
love
lemonade.
it.
He did
Yeah, I love the
UV
pink
light.
lemonade. It's so
Remember that?
vigorous.
He did a half a tent with UV light and half a tent without. And the side with UV had a much darker looking, different candy. It was very, very obvious, you know. I
Yep.
miss VPD, man. I hope he's doing well. Once in a while he pops in. I think his schedule changed. He used to be more available during our times, you know.
Yeah. He works a lot now, and he don't get off till like midnight or 1 a.m. So
Yeah,
I
that's what
barely
he
catch him nowadays too.
Cheers to VPD, man. He's been making these seeds for a while and
Yeah,
growing
huge
them out.
shout out, man, for making this granting me the opportunity to run these genetics and do this with my tent, man. I'm super excited.
I see
I do
Berkshire
have
Bud.
to feed. Sorry.
No, I was going to say our buddy Berkshire Bud's in the chat. He won Picture of the Week over at Cocoa for Canvas. I wanted to say congratulations. He had a beautiful,
Congrats.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's what is that? A 3x3 tent or a 4x4?
It's a 3x3.
Okay, I thought the light was a 3x3. What is that? A Mars FC or?
No, that's AC Infinity S3300.
Yep. Nice. Made just for that tent.
Yep. But yeah, they should be praying a little bit more. It is feed day. So I have to get in here and feed them tonight. We're gonna hit them with a PK booster. Try and start juicing them up, you know.
What are you in on those? Is that Fox Farms or Soil or Cocoa?
Yeah, I'm in Ocean Forest right now.
Okay. Right on.
I'm using GH 3-part.
That's what we use.
Yep.
PH
I mean,
yeah.
as long as you pH that shit, they love that shit.
Mm-hmm. Right on. It's nice to see that's working for you, man. It's cool genetics too. You get to smoke your buddy's homemade, seeds. That's always a good thing. I hope they turn out great for you.
And you are doing righteous by him.
Yeah,
man.
you're
You really are
Mm-hmm.
doing righteous by those genetics because you do that. That's just beautiful.
And then, like I said, this is my first time going into flower in this tent with photos. If you remember, I had this before. I filled out the whole canopy, but I had so many light leaks and so many interruptions that prolonged me flipping. So we had no interruptions this time, and I learned a hell of a lot. So hell yeah, we're here.
That's it, man. There's no substitute for experience, you know. It's nice sometimes you got to take the hits and learn from them, you know. And but it is nice when you can have other people give you cautionary tales, you know, because they've already made these mistakes.
Oh yeah.
You know, the problem is is where we get our information from, man. I think a lot of us we soak up information from multiple sources, and only one of them's right usually. But it's good to see there's no substitute. I always say that, man. You got to see for yourself. I'm one of those stubborn dudes that has to.
Hey, I was real stubborn. I mean, basically, I just dialed in and I started properly pHing my water and the nutrients, and started just doing the basics that I needed to be doing that I was just skipping.
Yeah, we were just talking about
trying to skip, just being lazy, you know.
We were talking about this earlier. It's easy.
Well, you know, my tab's my tab's like 6'7", 6'9", sometimes 7, like 2, but that's good, you know. For the all summer, I was just giving it to them, and then I switched to these nutrients, and I had a bunch of hiccups with this grow here. So I learned that you have to pH, you have to make sure all that's dialed in, or you're not going to get results like this.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes the basics get away from us, man. We get caught up in a bunch of different things in life, and you don't realize something's drifted off, and you know, it's good to see everything's on track, man. Get stacked up. This is the perfect time of year for growing around here, and it's nice to have our tents filled up and keep them rolling until the warm weather comes. A lot cheaper to grow this time of year than it is, you know, in the summer.
And you know, it's so humid down here. Even now it's like 69 outside. It's so humid that the cold was helping me, you know, but without the cold, when it goes back humid, I gotta run the DHU because it's just so hot and sticky down here.
Yeah, we've had ours on too. It went from 9 degrees to 50 degrees in like 30 hours. So everything started melting, and the same thing happened here, man. And this is what used to happen to us. This is for everybody. This is what used to happen to us when we were drying and curing in a closet. We would be on like day 5, running well. Everything's cold. Then you catch a warm day, get a huge spike in humidity. Nobody's here at the house all day. You come back home at night, you squeeze your buds that were almost ready to be dry. Now they're all soft and spongy again. And you already know that you're fucked. The job is done, you know, like you just lost that. And that used to happen to us. And that's why we ended up getting a Canatrol, or we all, you know, that shit sucked. But it happens in the grow too. I'll leave in the morning, man, when it's chilly out, and it'll be, you know, 56% in the deep flower tent, and then you come home and it's 71 because it did nothing but rain all day. No one's here to change anything over. It's not automated. You got to chase your targets the best you can, man.
You got to stay on it, especially when the weather's changing like this, especially where I'm at. You know, the rest of the United States, they're probably in the teens and 20s and 30s right now. But down here, we're in the 60s, close to 70s. The humidity's double, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So it might be 30 in the morning. I go to work. If I leave my automation set up, when I go to work, it's 70, 80 degrees. So now my automations, I'm like 99 in here, and I'm, you know, so you got to stay on it because of the fluctuations.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of times levels, I'll check the weather, right? And so what I'll do is if I see it's going to warm up and get humid, I'll just treat the day, even though it's not like that in the morning, I'll let them suffer a little bit of cold and dry in the morning. That way it levels off, you know what I mean? And sometimes it doesn't work in my favor that way. Sometimes it does, but I always tell people their targets. I try my best to hit them, and for as long as I can, you know, and you know, if you don't have automation, you can only do so much. Hey, I wanted to say hi to our buddy Icenon, make sure he knows he's connected. How you doing, buddy?
Hi.
What up, brother?
Cheers, everyone. Yeah, good to see you.
Hey, Icenon. What's up?
I'd say that's worth rolling up a joint, man.
Hell yeah, I gotta get out another pack of papers here. Another one bites the dust.
Hell yeah.
We'll smoke
Well, I
some
just wanted
grease.
to pop up and hang out for a bit and show. I gotta go take care of something, but maybe I'll come back in a few minutes.
Right on,
If y'all
brother.
still gonna be around for a while.
Yeah, we'll be here for another 50 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
We'll see you then.
Yeah. Great
Cool.
talking to y'all. Catch back up with y'all. I'm sorry I haven't been through in a while.
No, it's nice to
Hey,
see
it's
you,
nice
buddy.
when you can come.
Life happens, man.
We exactly. That's why we roll the show very
Loosely.
just It's a
Right.
it's a free for all.
Come and go, man.
Come and go.
Yeah,
The door is always open.
That's true.
Right. Thank you, Operation and Galaxy, and yeah, thank you, Smart and Crispy. I appreciate it. I'll go handle what I gotta handle. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Make sure you check out Levels.
Thanks for all the kind words, y'all, in chat.
See you, buddy.
Thank you, Operation.
Make sure you guys check out Levels' YouTube channel. He runs a show over there, and they get together on his channel too.
Every Thursday, actually tomorrow, yeah. It's like 6:30, 7 o'clock Central Time. But I'll be right back, y'all.
We'll get the link in the chat. All right. What's up,
Thank you.
Austin? I'll get you on the big
dude.
screen. You show us that bud you had, man. I missed it. Or did you already cut it up?
No, that's all right. I just let me switch the camera around because I can't deal with this back to front business. You get, you know, it is.
It always trips me up too. I'm always messing it up.
Zoom was much better.
Yeah. I had to go with the cheap. The $100 a year StreamYard was cheaper. You know, that looks good.
Yeah,
we don't ask for money or anything, man. You know, so all these years we've been doing this show, we have to pay for everything out of our pocket. So we try to go cheap as we can. We don't have any sort of like Patreon or fundraiser or anything to help cover anything. I don't feel right asking people for money, whether for whatever reason, you know, just doesn't sit well. I don't want to be one of those channels, man.
No, it's just I found the Zoom. You know, I'm just saying that the Zoom is a little bit user friendly for flipping your camera around and things like that. You know,
is that strawberry?
No, the strawberry still. I'm going to give that another couple of days. I'm going to really push that one to the very last. Basically, yeah, I'm letting it on because I think it might have got a little bit of pollen. So the longer I leave it, the more chances of viable seeds in it. And I'm just gonna let it. It's gonna have a final dry back. So it's just gonna sit in the pot and dry right back till it's, you know, pretty much curing on the stem. So I'm just gonna let that one ride as long as it goes. And if it throw out a few nanas, I'm gonna be pleased because I'm gonna collect them and use them.
Those look like some good buds right there, man. That's some nice looking shit. It's cool to be able to see those grow from little plants. Hey, those are the plants you went through a spider mite infestation, or was it spider or was it thrips? I can't remember.
Thrips on this one. Yeah, thrips. That was spider mites on the I had a whole room full of Amy wine cheese previously, and yeah, that was spider mites on the Amy wine cheese and thrips on these, and you know, you come through it. At the end, I'm always a case of don't panic, don't start fucking losing your shit and whatever. You know, you might not do it as well, and like I say, I wanted to be harvested a couple of weeks ago, but I plan for all this sort of stuff, you know. So when it happens, you know, it's almost expected. You know, it's very rare that I can get through a whole run without any hiccups. You know, either me sort of like halfway through flower and leaving the light on for 24 hours, or you know, or just dumping a load of really high pH silicone water or silica water that, you know, it's going to change my buffer in my soil. I make mistakes, but right now, winter time, I love it. I love this time.
Right on.
I'm running on again.
Well, we grew a strain here, us and I, called Grease Monkey. Yin's ever hear of a strain called Grease Monkey?
Yeah, from Tyler from Family Trees Farm, isn't it?
No, this one come from
Oh no,
MS.
that's bacon grease. Sorry, yeah, yeah.
Grease Monkey. It's a Gorilla Glue #4 crossed with cookies and cream, and I gotta say, man, this is a really nice strain. It's got, and one thing I noticed, all the buds have real pronounced orange hairs all over it, you know, like real fuzzy orange buds for some reason, more than usual. I don't know why that is, but
she's pretty to look at and lovely to smoke. And when I hear Grease Monkey, I hear the Beastie Boys in my head saying, Grease Monkey, that funky monkey.
You changed it up.
That's right.
Me and the crew were smoking Grease Monkey.
Yeah, the deep candy I've done like that. That's one of the ones with the real vibrant hairs and orange hairs that don't seem to retract back in, and they're there at the finish. There are some strains. I think there's an actual strain out there called Orange Hair, and that's pretty much what it is. It's just a big ball of fucking hair.
Grease Monkey was an exotic genetic brand. See, I didn't know that. Exotic genetics. That's pretty cool. I gotta say, I dig the strain. People, I've heard I don't even know if it's GG4 heavy. If this is what any representation of GG4, then I believe I like it a lot. But it's not a straight GG4. I don't. You know how that goes. It could be somebody else named something GG4, but it came from MSNL.com, and that's what they got it labeled down as. We've never had straight GG #4, and it's one of those classic strains, that you hear about all the time. And
it always makes me wonder when someone says, "Well, I got Grease Monkey from exotic genetics that I grew," and then
are we getting the same thing?
Is it? Can we even say? Is it even the same? If there's similarities because that wasn't bred by exotic.
I'm saying
genetics,
you're right. It ain't going to be the same.
It's just because I always think that.
Here's why. MSNL Seeds they're not a broker. They're actually breeders. They grow all these strains there. That's why sometimes you'll notice like a new strain will hit, say GG4. They won't have a release of it for like 2 years because they take it there and they
do their own.
Yeah, like when they did the Max, they even told me they got the Mac cut from Capulator and they put silver thiosulfate on it and they made seeds with it and they somehow stabilized them, and that's why it took them 2 years or 3 years to release it. But so I don't know.
I mean,
that's so they can hold it. That's so they can keep the genetics. I think that's the only reason why they take that long to release it, so they can hold it and sell clones.
Probably. Well, it's coming from the UK, man.
And no one can copy it.
You know that these seeds are coming from the UK, man. So it's like I know over there the laws are kind of tough. So I'm not sure how they do it or what's going on, but I've always had good stuff from them. I see OK Jace joined us. I want to make sure he knows he's hooked in with his microphone and that.
Cheers, Jace.
Yeah, hey, cheers, guys. Good to be back on here. How's it going?
Look at that snap setup, man. You got
your 10 off the ground.
It's a throne.
Yeah, so I just framed it up. I'm gonna put a skin on it eventually and probably paint it, but I'm gonna put some pull-out drawers here on the front. That's the front right here.
Okay.
And then on the side over here, I left it open on the bottom right there because that's where my drain's gonna be. So I'm gonna slide in a drain pan there and put in a drain tray in the tent itself. That thing's tall. It's like 9 foot tall now. It's almost up to the ceiling.
Oh, it's riding high, man.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, here's my, I just harvested too, matter of fact. Here's my 3 buckets. I got them on my curing system here.
I had you on little screen. You can show
Nice. I like your bucket curing
system. I had the cherry pie and banana kush. You guys are growing that right now.
Yes, we are.
And then some pineapple express.
They were growing for us last September.
We saw that we were lucky enough that that looks beautiful.
Banana kush was in the middle, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a banana kush right there. It came out pretty good. It was actually my best yielder.
They look like proper buds, man.
I had about 7.5 ounces each plant. I almost got 1 pound out of 2 plants on it.
That's a good point. Berkshire makes, you can fit a condensate pump under your tent and pump it into a bigger bucket or to a sink or even out a window or something. Now that you have that set up, you've really opened up yourself to multiple choices. Or you could have just a manual drain pan, because that's probably what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do. I was at Lowe's and I saw a bucket that'll fit there. It'll hold up to 20 gallons.
Oh,
So wow. I might put it like on a rollers, build like a tray and put some casters on it so I can roll it out. Yeah. Maybe all the way to my bathtub to empty it so I don't have to carry it to the bathtub.
Yeah, you'll have to find what works for you, but those are all great ideas. I appreciate Burke putting that up there for us. I didn't think of that right away, but that does open it up.
Nice.
So plan up there, Chris.
Looks like you're set up, ready to go for you're ready to smoke for a while on them buckets, man. You like them buckets?
I use this for curing, and then when I go into long-term storage, I just go over here to the mason jars for long-term storage. So I just put them in here so I can burp them automatically. I got the air pump hooked in right there, and then it runs on a timer on my tent. I use that AC Infinity controller to burp it for about a couple minutes a day. So it just kicks on for about 2 minutes and pumps the air in through these hoses here, these check valves, let the air in and out, and those gamma lids make it airtight.
There's if you ever have to run your pumps like that for a long time, you can. I've seen everybody saying it's best to hang them from like a rubber band, and you won't hear the vibration in your floors and shit. You know, for your air pumps.
Yeah, because those can put off some sound there. That one's not too bad because it's a smaller one, but the bigger ones we had at the commercial facility I set up, they were pretty noisy.
Yeah, man. I seen someone was on our show a long time ago and told me that they were hanging them from like bungee straps. So that way it would take up all the vibration. And I thought that was pretty good. The other tip was, and this is a little bit different than your curing setup, but it rings in my head when I seen that pump, was the fact that if you're bubbling into a resin, or if you're bubbling into a reservoir, you always want your pump to be higher than the reservoir in case it goes out on you. If the pump's on and it stops, it'll draw back the water and siphon it all out of your buckets onto your floor. So now that's not your setup, but it just happened to come up in my head to make sure to let everyone know. But yeah, that's a great idea you got as an automatic burper, man. Very smart.
Yeah, because it sucks having to open up, 20 jars every day.
Yeah.
For however long you want to burp it for. So that takes all the legwork out. I try to automate as much as I can. And then I just run those Bavita packs in there to help keep it stable.
And I like that you have the here's what I would think, because I can be very weird about shit. I would be thinking about the layeredness. I remember back, Jace, whenever we used to dry in brown paper bags for like the first 2 years. We used the brown paper bag method, and we did all right with that. I was surprised at how well it worked, and it wasn't foolproof, but always the problem was the layering of the buds. That was the big issue. You have to have like 50 bags because you didn't want like a 3-inch layer, but I see that you have a pretty decent layer in there, and that would bug me. I'd probably want to shake the buckets up a little bit, but I did notice that you have the tubes down going through the bud, so it kind of like presses all the air out. Yeah. And so
yeah, and what those do is like they're actually perforated at the bottom, so I tie a knot there
and then poke holes in them.
Yeah, I just perforate, like I'll get a push pin and I'll poke holes for about 1 foot, and then that sits in the bottom underneath the buds. I'll have to put them back on top of it, but so the air comes in through the bottom and then out the top, and then that check valve will let the air out once it gets to a certain pressure.
Oh man, that's great. So that takes away any of my worries of your layered buds at the bottom. So you've already thought it through.
Genius.
But it's nice, and to give the explanation why you're doing it is awesome, man. And I like that setup.
Yeah, and I'll come in and rock that. I'll roll it around a little bit to kind of agitate them a little bit so they're not stagnant in there every now and then. But I like to cure for a month.
Yeah. I was going to say, how long are we at?
I just chopped them last Sunday.
Okay.
No, I'll take that back. No, it was the one before that because I dried them for about 10 days. And then I just trimmed them Saturday. I had some guys come over and help me trim.
Nice.
And I actually paid them. I'm lazy. But yeah, we trimmed them up Saturday and got a final weight in. I was right at 2.2 pounds
Oh, nice.
in
That's
the 5x5.
Nice. You set up ready to roll for the next one yet?
Man, I'm probably going to finish building this frame here. Like I said, I want to put a skin on it. I'll probably paint it because this is in my office. Actually, it's right by my front of my house. So it's not like in a basement. So I might try to make it look kind of pretty. But I also want to do an automated watering system. That's another reason I wanted to raise the tent so I can get a bigger reservoir without having the siphon effect coming back into it. So I'll probably do that next after I finish this. And then probably get to growing. I've got some seeds up here. I got Acapulco Gold and Jack. You got the Jack Terror.
He's got the Jack. Hey, our buddy Brian 420 here. He's right. He says, he says that wire racks might help you a little bit in there. You could layer it up. If you had some sort of a rack system in there, it might even, I'm not saying that you're wrong or anything, but I think the wire racks, because I could picture like a round cookie rack sitting in there and a couple of them stacked up and you have your buds at different layers,
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's very deep. I mean,
but it will
got
be.
like, how many, like 5 inches deep?
He's got he's going to have more and more too. You already know.
I mean,
it's probably as deep as my hand in there from my finger to my palm.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's pretty deep, I guess. It was an optical illusion to look at it
I wouldn't turn my nose up to a wire rack idea. I think I kind of don't mind. Have you tried to smoke a bud yet, man, to see the taste?
Oh, it's on the tray.
That's a nice
I'm a stickler. I like to wait a month of curing before I dip into it. I like to get the full cure on it. But yeah, I was pretty happy with this grow.
Yeah, it's pretty bud.
Nice.
It's really nice.
It's always, it's nice to see it change. Like you'll probably smoke it now and think, it's good, but I can still taste that little bit of green, like that little bit of harshness sometimes will be with it. Not all of them carry that, but that's usually, and then you'll get it out like 2 weeks later, and it's totally amazing sometimes how much it's changed, and you're thinking, yes.
See, I'm so glad that you're getting this view, because you had mentioned you're going to put drawers in there, and I think that is a fabulous idea, because that's storage. You can put some things in there that you use in your grow every day. Is that what you're going to do?
Even just flat totes that you could slide in and out.
That's a really great idea.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I got so much crap in this room. You get leftover parts here and there and supplies, and I mean, you could build it a lot cheaper. I think Doc just throws up some 2x4s, which is great. But like I said, this is in my front room here, so I'm trying to make it a little more presentable. Plus, having that storage down there would be nice.
Oh yeah.
Hey, guess what I just did, man? I packed a bowl and I took a hit, and it grabbed my lungs, and I coughed right back into the bowl and blew all the weed out all over my table, my cat.
It happens.
It's worse when you do it with a water bong and you shoot that water all over your floor.
Oh, that is bad. Nothing like bong water.
You know what else I did today, guys? I gotta tell you, man, because I gotta tell them, because it broke my heart. I'm still of all the shit we've been dealing with. Today, I'm smoking a bowl.
It's okay.
And I'm at my friend Dr. Coco's meeting today, and I'm smoking a bowl, and I go to smack it out in my hand, and the whole bowl splits, man. The whole end of it. Now, this is a bowl that my wife bought at a glass festival. Was hand blown right there. It was like one of our early dates that we went on. Like we were just started dating, and she bought this glass bowl, so it meant a lot to both of us. It's like it started the relationship the same time we did, And today I go to smack it out in my hand, and the whole choker part of the side of the bowl just slipped off. I don't know if I hit my wedding ring or what, man, but we've had that thing. We've dropped it. I was looking out the window one day smoking a bowl in our old apartment, and we had those metal radiators, and I dropped it, and it's banged right off one of those metal radiators onto the floor. It's fell off the table before, and then I do something like that. I was just cleaning out from the last bowl. You know how you do it. You get in there, bake it real hard, and smack it in your hand, right? It split right in two, and it's my wife's.
You know what I said? It's a material thing. We have great memories. They're always going to be in our heads, even though we don't have the pipe anymore. It's no big deal. I'm glad Smart didn't get hurt. The piece was pretty sharp. And you know what's funny is we were talking about this a few months back about how long we've had this pipe, and you know all the fun we've had with it. And if it ever got broke, Smart's like, if this pipe ever breaks, I'm going to be heartbroken. And I told him right then and there, I said, well, you know, don't feel bad because it's, you know, it was mine because he took over that pipe. It became his very early on in the relationship. He liked it so much. I'm like, yeah, that's your pipe now, buddy. But I feel bad that he broke his favorite piece.
Yeah. But if it's glass, it's going to go sometime or another.
Exactly.
Unless you put it in a case and don't use it. You know?
Well, you know, I did
Yeah.
take the 2 pieces. I am going to glue it back together because it's got sentimental value.
And we're going to keep it in our case. Well, I have a
yeah.
curio cabinet with like home interior, like deer and eagles and stuff in this lit up curio cabinet. I'm putting a bowl in there too, man.
It's gonna be on display. It'll be, we're gonna take it, make it.
People will be looking at my curio cabinet like, "Oh, that's nice animals. What the hell is that?" You know. That thing's been with us for a decade. I see you got some plants over there we can check out. Looks like a new round.
New round of babies coming at you.
We still got a half hour. You guys, if you hang out and check out some more grows here. Talk to me, man. What do we got, Ice and I?
This is.
He can't do it.
He's hitting hard.
Take a breath. Take a breath, buddy.
Don't breathe into the pole, Ice now.
There you go. This is a TK cross NL5 cross Hayes back cross line 1. Up man knows. There's a long.
Damn. That is a long description.
I hate those long ones, man. Now I see lime. I'm wondering if that's something that come from like Brandon Rust. He had lime Arilla.
Yeah.
He has that, you know, is that where that comes from? He got the Black Lime Reserve, which we'll currently have a jar. That shit is fire. Absolute fire.
We have a cross of it, yeah.
What's this one?
This is blueberry muffin cross jelly bean. Not jelly bean, but jelly bean. The James Loud.
Okay.
Mr. Loud version. That's another one of them as well. These two got sent to me from the Caribou Pig Boys. Fluffy sent me these. Not sure who bred these, but it's Gelato 33 cross the root beer freeze. So I've done the other root beer ones that I got along with these, and they didn't make it out of my veg tent, to be honest with you. I thought they were a pile of poo, so I thought I'd just give these ones a go and see what happens. You know, sometimes if I think something's crap, I'll run it again, just confirm it that it weren't just, you know, a one-off. So I'll sort of like double check it a few times, but I don't hold much hopes for anything that was crossed with this root beer. There are 3 that haven't come up. There's two of the AK-47s there, and one of the deep candies, the CBD plants that are done for my wife. So I'm actually just now going to give them a little bit of spray chamomile tea.
Hey, where'd that root beer cross come from? That wouldn't happen to be something from
Dutch Blue or Mean Gene maybe, or Dutch Blooms. One of them two, I think. It might be a
Yeah.
collaboration.
Wonder what now. Here's a question for you. For anybody else that's grown a root beer strain, I think Weed Nerd grew a couple root beer strains from Pure Breeding. Kyle Breeder,
Okay.
who was a guest on our show. You can look up that show, Kyle Breeder from Pure Breeding. It used to be predicated breeding, but he changed it to pure breeding. And he had some root beer crosses. And I guess my question is, has anybody grown a root beer cross? Does it taste like root beer, or is it more indicative of like the color of the flower, or like, what's going on there? Because I've never
heard color.
Brown
Yeah, I heard.
stem that looks
What?
like colour of root beer. That's what I got where the root beer name came from, with a bit of vanilla.
That's what I heard. Yep.
What is it?
So it's got a brown stem.
Oh,
Like
a
woody
brown
stem
stem.
colour, like the colour of root beer. I don't think it actually tastes like root beer. I think
So
it's got more of a vanilla-y. Not sure on the flavour profile myself. This is looking a bit sad. It was in one of these size pots up until last week, so it's now starting to come around and grow out of the funk.
You
But
took it from a soilless pot to a soil pot?
That's one of those fabric pots. I've actually used it. Took a hole punch to the bottom of this fabric pot. So when this goes onto my bed, I don't dig it in or anything now. I didn't cut holes in the bottom of the last pot, and the roots struggle to come through. So I hole punched this one. It's just sat on a tray until I put it on my bed. So, but yeah, the roots are already. I'm now gonna try and prop this. See if I can pick it up with one hand and show you. Oh.
I see them. Oh yeah, nice fuzzy
they're
roots.
pretty roots there.
Nice, healthy looking fuzzy roots, man, for sure. It'll be back in no time. It's harder to go from a soilless medium to a soil medium than it is the other way around. It seems like.
Or so we've heard.
Well, remember the one we took outside?
Remember
the one you planted outside by accident? You threw that seed.
Oh
there?
yeah, but there
It
was a baby.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
How did that happen?
He just dropped off.
Oh, he hit the wrong button.
Maybe he hit a button.
There he is.
There we go. Okay.
He's
back.
I didn't click a button.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
They do have it, man. If you click this button right here to put someone on the solo layout, it says remove.
Oh yeah, I hate how those buttons.
If you're
are
just
so
a little
close.
bit off, you're going to remove someone versus giving them the whole solo layout of the screen, just like this here.
No, that was me. I was fumbling the buttons. Yeah, as you can see, I'm struggling to also as well adjusting to the new LED light.
Hey,
So-
that's that. What light is that? That's the one that has the lenses, the focus lenses on it.
Yeah, and I'm not liking it.
You're not, is it? Our friend Doc MJ did a review on that light. I don't know if you know that. He has it on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, this is why I went and bought it, because I watched the review and stuff. And
Yeah.
for the price and the power of the light, I just don't think it's good for a veg light. To be honest with you, there's not enough blue in there. Too much red, maybe.
Maybe they might have geared it more towards like the veg and bloom kind of a system in under there, you know.
I don't know, but yeah, I've tried everything with it. I've dimmed it right down, turned it right up, and I'm gonna go back to the tried and tested tree that makes my plants just look healthy.
And pretty green. You can keep them real close, man. It helps control the environment, I think, really nice because they're right on top of the plants all the time. Oh, you still got a big bushel hanging up, huh?
Yeah, this all got hung up today.
Look at you swimming in it, man.
Yes, buds aplenty. It's good to see those beautiful buds hanging.
It sucks to watch them shrink, don't it, Ice and I? They go from like it's down to like 40% of their. They go back to week 5 looking buds. It's like I went from harvest to week 5 in 4 days.
Yeah, it's especially like because I'll give half of it to my son as well. And by the time, because I'll call him round when this is all ready for him to come and do the work, do the hard bit or the boring bit. So I'll be like, "Yes, you got some stuff to come and sort out here." And yeah, he's like, "Oh, that's shrunk a lot," you know. And it's always shocking to people that don't see it every day. If you get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
When you see what comes out of that.
Yeah.
What's left?
You lose 75% weight, so
yeah.
I
always say a third. You end up with a third, roughly. Yeah, but this is the finished CBD for the wife.
Did you get some seeds in that one?
This has got some really nice colours going on in here. It's got red, blue, pink, purple, green. It's got both shades of green. And it's very sort of colourful. This one, not the chunkiest and not the. Well, it's fairly firm. And like I say, the cola itself was pretty nice. It's that, and I suppose I had the extra
you had those on Instagram, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, the colors on there are just phenomenal. They jump out. It's crazy. I've never seen a plant like that.
No, they look good, man.
Certainly is beautiful. You're right. They do jump out.
I hope that your wife gets some good relief off of that plant. Hopefully that's enough to hold her over for a good while.
It's all nice, and this is the blueberry or a blueberry muffin.
You getting that smell off of it?
Yeah, that just smells like blueberry muffin. This is a green, or I would say a green one. And
yeah.
Can you remember when I was saying to you, I don't know whether to chop these plants out because they look like they're going to be a nightmare?
Yeah.
I nearly swore then. This is that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, my son's going to be pissed off when he sees
it. Putting his ass to work, gosh.
He likes doing it though.
I like
doing it. I'm sure.
It's all laughy as well. It's not nugs, not like it's just shit. I'm gonna lay it straight out there. This was shit. The tops about
hard to trim.
The tops are gonna be all right.
What's it be your most fire plant? Isn't that how it goes sometimes? That'll be the one that just killer.
That's why I
the least amount of it.
Even when we grow buds like that and those tiny little buds, I tend to trim them because I've experienced, great buds. Those little buds that, I would have just chopped up and thrown into edibles or hash. I trimmed up off of plants that turned out to be fire, and I was glad that I did. Now, when the plant turns out that it sucks, it's just a big loss. I mourn, the loss of the whole plant and all the work that I put into it. But
wasting lights, wasting
roots, it goes beyond the wasted time of just trimming the buds. It's just a hurt piece altogether. A gut punch.
I think that.
But hey, Mary Jane does that too sometimes.
Your son will clean that right up, and it'll be pert.
I think this one here is an Amy.
That's the mixed tray. I remember when you dumped that tray.
Yeah. I think so I had about 5 Amy's in there, and I think I've got 3. This is one of them, and 2 of them have got pollen on in there. Oh, there's this one's slightly. It's been up there for a couple more days. You can see by the leaf there. This is another blueberry muffin, more of the blueberry. There's another one behind it. That's I'd say pink. This one's purple. That one's pink. Oh, actually, and this one here is another Kong's Crush, but not as big as the other one that the big beastie one. This was done in the pots. You can see everything that got done in my plastic pots has had the good fade. You know, it's lost its nutrition, and as soon as they start getting that way, I don't bother chasing it. I'll just let them finish out, just one water only. You know, you're getting a nice clean product at the end. I like a nice fade. I don't really get that in the living soil. Don't tend to generally fade that hard, but in a 2-gallon pot, it's easy. And yeah, another Kong's Crush. My light's not doing it justice, but it's got almost got a bluey hint to it. That one. What's that?
Are you getting a lot of smell in that room? Like a lot of different smells? Whoops.
It's not permeating, but it's probably about 15 degrees in here. So it's cold. If it was to get up to around about 18, 19, I'll try and keep it as cold and as low as possible, because this is actually my bedroom where what I'm in, and my wife does not like the smell too much. She reminds me of how much she has to put up with every time I've got a plant hanging up. So
Well, she's a trooper. She doesn't like the smell, and she's doing that for you, you know. It's not for everybody, but yeah, the cold temperatures help with that.
Damn, they're saying I
You
can
know.
get rid of that heart. No, I can't get rid of it.
Hey,
Yeah,
Ice and
Yeah.
I'm going to. I've decided to use the OG Kush pollen you sent me on my next project, so it'll be Flow OG Kush.
Nice.
I like
Be
it.
heavy on the O's and the G's.
Flow G.
Flow G Kush. Flow G Kush. I like it. We're going to have to bounce that around a little bit. Seed Person is real good at names too. So.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I like it. It has it just floats right off the tongue. Flow G Kush.
Yeah, I think that's the winner so far. Absolutely.
We still
Well,
got
thanks, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome, brother.
We still got like 15 minutes. I'll take a minute and show them our buds and some of them purple stems and shit I was talking about.
Oh yeah.
I'll be back, or I'll go in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what you got.
Oh, I need to stretch my back.
Yeah, Smut's trooping through. I can tell he's got some pain on his face, and he needs to take the walk over into that room. This will do him some good. And yeah, I mean, we've noticed those purple stems. You know, you guys know we've been talking about it for a minute. He'll get in there close up now. I think in the front. Okay, the one he's showing now is the Ghost Train Haze. So that's the Ghost Train.
Now that's his favorite, isn't it? Isn't that one
Yeah,
you really
that
like?
is his favorite.
Excellent. Well, you're gonna have a big bud on that one.
Yeah, that one right there, she's the frostiest, and that I believe is the Gorilla Cookies.
Oh, that's pretty.
And that is in the back corner there. We have the Cali Kush. Now we grew the Cali Kush before, and I can't get to the back of her to smell her, but before she had a skunky smell to it, and she is original California crossed with skunk. Now that's MSNL seeds, and you can see some of the stress that pH has gotten us.
Oh, you'll get out of that. That'll heal. Yeah. Those are regs. Maybe, you're pretty far along right now to do much, but
yeah.
How long are you now?
we flipped on Festivus, so we're almost a month in. What's today?
you got
30.
well, you got some time then.
30 some days into the flip, so 32 maybe.
Well, you'll get your pH right. You got a lot of time left.
Well, yeah, we already have some days in with the pH and the pH pens, but I'll tell you, we'll never. I told Smot that's the last time we are going without having some sort of backup, even if we have to buy the cheapest ones in the market. Never use them just to have them as backup, because we literally didn't know what to put on our plants. It's scary to go into your grow room and have solution and not have any clue as to what you're doing. You just don't even want to put anything on them. But you know you got to. It was a scary couple days with a pH pen snafu. You did a good job. I went through and
They look all right, man, for what we've been
for what
through
we
there.
did to them. Yeah.
Got some frost on that one that I even said like 2 weeks ago. I said, this plant sucks. It's all scraggly and shit. Man, it's got so much frost on it. It's a cookies and cream.
Is that what it
It's
is?
everywhere. It's all over the plant. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That is so frosty.
Yeah, that's
Beautiful.
why I said that's a cookies and cream. I don't even like that name because of the big brand cookies or something shit. So I gotta stop.
Yeah, the one beside it in the front is a Gorilla cookie. I think I told them that was the Gorilla cookie.
No, the one on the left's Gorilla cookie. The one on the right's cookies
and
and
cream.
cream. The one behind on the back right is Cali Kush, and the one on the back left is Ghost Train Haze. Those two in the back we've grown before and absolutely loved them. So we were going through our seeds and seeing them, toss them down there.
Yeah. But yeah, we're excited about.
You got a lot of time for it to get thick too. You're gonna do good.
Yeah, they're 32 days today, so we're halfway. We're in mid bloom on our schedule. Running a 1.35 EC now that we
have it,
You straightened up some major shit, man. You were really choking there, Smart. That was pretty bad. You didn't know it, but it was pretty bad error.
And all the while you're thinking early life stressors affect the plant, whether it be, how good is the bud gonna be? And that would have really freaked me out right now if it wasn't for the last tent we grew. We had to change our whole plans because they were tanked and we couldn't really figure it out.
And they turned out great.
The smoke is amazing. So I'm relaxed on oh no, we've ruined the bud. We've really screwed them up so bad that that's gonna taste shit. But it's really not, because we done the last tent some horrible injustices. And the smoke is really, I'm really impressed. I like all of it. It's
our buddy Berkshire
awesome.
Bud. He got to smoke some of our Cali Kush.
Yeah.
Which is a cross between original California and skunk.
Yeah, I told them that. And
it's so freaking good, man. I don't know. It's one of those things. It does give you that old school feeling. I know that's cliche anymore, but it's just got that old school. Like you put a bag of that shit in your pocket and walk into a room, and in a couple minutes, everyone else is going to know it's there too. Yeah,
I'm hoping that this. We'll get to see what the differences are in what we experienced before. And Berkshire Bud, we're gonna have to get you some of this new Cali Kush so that because you've tried it. You've tried the old stuff, so you kind of have.
It was like a year old.
Yeah, it was a year old, so we'll have to get some bud to you.
Hey, Brian, for Burke. Brian's bringing up that and Art Man said, "You're right. That EC thing, it really tore me up, man. It fucked me up.
My goodness!
I've been thinking about that a lot, and I'm trying to watch my plants to see how things turn around. But knowing those metrics are right, I've really been feeling a sigh of relief, man. And yeah, that's a crazy story. And how many times did I tell people on here, something don't seem right. I don't understand how we're getting away with it. How is our setup so much different than everybody else's? And it just didn't work out, but I kind of wasn't questioning it much out there. I'm thinking everybody's different. Some people are soil, some people do this. Our plants just happen to go well for this reason. But I come to find out all these things. And I didn't.
No,
even
wait a
know
minute. You had Weed Nerd also going running low EC, and his
Hello,
plants were
yeah,
looking great.
That's
They were
what,
looking great. So you had that to compare with too. So you're thinking, well, maybe I am doing
Yeah, and here's the other
because
thing.
he was getting away with it. So and still
Here's the other
is.
thing with that though, Art Man. On Jack Greenstock's show, they brought up a paper. Some other people in the chat might remember that they brought up a paper, and it had recommended lower EC, and for different reasons. One reason or another is supposed to make like a more potent bud or something. And you know, I don't know how much stock was put into the paper, but he had got some information there, and he told me that coupled with what you were saying, I'm going to try it. And his plants did great, but he did find his ceiling, or I guess he should say his basement, when you're going low, and ran it there and did good. But it's been a real humdinger, man. Because like I made a lot of posts with the wrong EC and shit, and
hey, no wonder our buds were looking so fat and big, right?
Well, we
because
still-
we were, you know, but we do. Smut and I have talked about this, that we're going to start a grow. We do want to not run it low, but lower, maybe hang around that 1100, not capping off there.
Yeah.
From start, you know, I obviously wouldn't want to do anything like that right now that we know this doesn't change anything. We're going to ride these out the way we've been rolling as we, you know, those numbers don't mean anything. Not that they don't mean anything, but we're not changing the EC level now that we know that we're running a little high, or
no, we're trying to stay pretty
we
consistent.
just want to stay consistent, get it done, and get this grow done. And I know already that our buds, that can be fire in that tent to smoke. I can't judge it until it's in my pipe.
It smells fabulous.
It smells really good in that tent. Like, that's one thing I've noticed today, especially maybe because like I needed the smells of that tent, those good smells to change my day around, and it really helped smelling good.
It is,
but we
almost
do
time
want
for
to,
Let's Be Buds, man.
yeah, we do want to you know, go a low tent, a low EC. But
Yeah,
you're right. It's I don't want to step on Uncle Rick's show, because I do believe tonight is Chad Westport. He's going to be over there at the Let's Be Buds. I posted those links in chat, so we can go around and do our final shout outs and goodbyes so that everybody can get their drink before they head over there. And we can start off with you, Ice and I, if you want to go first, buddy. It was a pleasure having you tonight. It was awesome show tonight.
Yeah, it's a pleasure just dropping in and just chatting a bit of whatnots with everybody. Yeah, I'll see everyone Sunday. Possibly I might chop down them strawberries on Sunday. So if I leave it till then, I'll do it on the show.
Look forward to that. Awesome. Up next, Artman. You want to go next, buddy?
Sure, Artman 2 N's 420 _ on Instagram. Check out my new painting. I'm about 90% or so. So, and thanks for having me. And we'll see you over at Rick's.
Right on. Nice to see all the chatters come back, and after a week off, appreciate that. We finally made it this week, over 1,400 subscribers, which, like I said earlier, we don't sell anything or have any patrons. So it's fun just to see that many people be interested to come and hang out, sharing our successes, sharing our learning, our teaching, and all the other things that we try to get into here. And we hope everybody has a good time at Uncle Rick's show.
Yeah, it was awesome coming back and hanging out with you all. We missed you so much, and you really are a highlight of our week. You know,
right in the middle of the week.
Yeah, right in the middle of the week. You know, when you're chugging through the week, it's awesome to be hanging out with everybody. Thank you so much. Please come back Sunday and hang out with us some more.
Yeah.
Grow love, everyone.
Grow love.
Peace.